Welcome to the Butler Press Pass. I'm Samuel Wiederhaft.
And I'm Perry Wagner.
And this is our first ever show on Butler360sports.com. You feeling good, Perry?
Oh, I'm feeling so good. This is going to be one heck of a show, Sam.
So we'll start off with the first segment of the Top Dog Plays of the Week, hosted by Damon Rector. Every week, we'll pick the best moments or plays in the week for Butler Athletics. So, Damon, take it away.
Hi, I'm Damon Rector, and this is this week's Top Dogs Moments. Keelan Martin hitting back-to-back NBA range threes against number 1 Villanova.
You gotta keep this guy's hands full. You can't go away from him if you're Butler. Martin the other way in transition, steps into a three, and it's Keelan Martin again with 17 in the first half.
A steal and a pass by Sean McDermott brings the Dogs within 3.
The lead is 5. It's only 5. And they're going to foul Dickerson. Oh, nearly a steal, and it is a steal! Baldwin lays it in.
Kamar Baldwin's 3 sends it into overtime.
Baldwin for the tie. Got it! 11. Martin. This is good if it goes. Off the backboard. We're going to overtime.
And that's this week's Top Dogs Moments.
And that was this week's Top Dog Plays of the Week, Perry.
The Butler women's basketball team has a completely new look this season with a revamped coaching staff under head coach Kirk Godlewski, as well as a number of new players on the court. But even with all those changes, the one constant this year has been junior forward Tori Schickel. The Evansville native has averaged 17 points per game to go along with 10 rebounds this season and has helped the Bulldogs to 13 wins, which is more than twice their win total from last year. Press Pass's Phil Torr has more.
No one had very many expectations for me, so I did well in high school, but I was kind of not as big of a recruit as we had.
It did not take long for Evansville native Tori Schickel to make an impact on the Butler women's basketball team. After experiencing some difficulty transitioning to the college game, Schickel said one day she felt like she could play at the next level.
Coach G says he knows the practice that it all clicked, but I can't remember exactly the practice, but one day it all just kind of came together.
It was the way she stuck out. She was getting every rebound. Every time she touched it, she was making the right play. She was the first one back on defense, and it was all little effort things.
After a limited role in her freshman campaign, Schickel established herself as a dominant low-post presence for the Bulldogs. In her sophomore season, Schickel averaged a double-double by putting up 14.6 points and grabbing 11.6 rebounds per game. Her efforts landed her a spot in the Big East All-Second team. Schickel credits her low-post game as the reason for her success.
So I think my biggest strength is my post moves, just because they're so, people have described them as like basic, so I don't do anything fancy, but at the same time they're so effective. Because I can read where the defense is. So I think that's a huge strength.
It's been something new for her every year that she's such a coachable kid that she grows and her game adapts to it, whatever she needs to do.
Schickel was named team captain for her junior season, and her teammates believe it's because of the calm, cool, and collected approach she brings to the court.
I think she's really good at just staying calm in difficult situations. She has a really good poise. So she's just kind of like, if we get in tough situations, she's good at making sure everyone stays composed.
Yeah, she's kind of like that voice of reason as far as like communication. She's really good at talking on defense and getting everyone in the right positions.
Schickel is already amongst one of the best to put on a Butler women's basketball uniform as she climbs to the top of the points, rebounds, and minutes records. Schickel says this is one of the reasons she suits up every game.
You play so you can be great one day, and so you can etch your name in history, and so you can be remembered.
As for this season, Schickel believes the Dogs are down, but not out.
Even though we've been on this losing streak, we're getting back on the right track. We're practicing hard. We're doing things right.
After a down year last season, Tori Schickel has helped lead the Bulldogs to a 13-14 record thus far this season. And with only 3 games left in conference play, Schickel and the Dogs are looking to make a strong push to the postseason. The Dogs return to action tomorrow night when they take on the Providence Friars at 6 p.m. in Providence. For Butler360sports.com, I'm Phil Tor.
Schickel's double-double year averages has her in good standing to be included as an All-Big East performer when the season ends in mid-March. We'll see if her production can lift the women's basketball team as they head into tournament play in a few weeks. Sam?
The men's basketball team has enjoyed success this season under first-year head coach LaVall Jordan. The departure of former head coach Chris Holtman to Ohio State came as a surprise to Butler fans, but Jordan immediately stepped in and filled his staff with many impressive coaches, including assistant coach Omar Larry. Larry spent one season under Jordan at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, helping guide them to the Horizon League Tournament Championship game. Larry has also made stops at Sam Houston State, San Jose State, Cal Poly, and Texas State, and has been coaching for over a decade. Press Pass's Keelan Martin is live in studio now with Larry, so take it away, Keelan.
Thank you, Sam. I'm here with Omar Larry, assistant coach of the Butler men's basketball team. Omar, it's great to have you here on the Press Pass with us.
Thanks for having me, Key.
Yeah, no problem. I heard you're a big dancer. So what's your favorite dance?
My favorite dance is pretty old school. If I do it, you have to do it too.
What is it?
Cabbage Patch.
Let's see it.
So you gotta get the arms moving. And then I like the dance you guys be doing in the locker room after a win. Was it dabbing? Like dab? Is that what you call it?
Yeah, we do that.
Okay, I love those.
So your transition from Milwaukee to Butler, how has it been?
It's been great. You know, working with, players like you and Tyler and Paulie, and then of course working with our staff, Coach Jordan, and previously working with him at Milwaukee. So it's been a easy transition.
So what made you come to Butler?
Of course, working with Coach Jordan last year at Milwaukee, and the whole coaching change, and just jumping right in. And when he called me, like, "Oh, I'm going to Butler," I'm like, "Okay, let's go." So that was exciting.
So how long have you known each other? How's your relationship been?
We've known each other for about 12 years. I think he was at Iowa, and you guys making me feel old now. I was at Texas State, and so we've had years of seeing each other on the road and just connecting that way.
What made you become an assistant coach?
What made me go in that direction was my father passed away when I was 5, and so all of the coaches that I've had in my life, they've always been there for me, and they kind of pushed me in that direction. And seeing those guys mentor me when I was young, it kind of motivated me to want to mentor players like you and all the stops that I've been at, those players as well.
So looking into the future, do you consider being a head coach one day?
Of course. If it happens, you just have to make sure you're ready for it.
Yeah.
And you never know when you're ready for it. So
yeah.
If I'm fortunate to become one, let's do it.
So I heard you were a PE teacher growing up. How was that? Like, what made you become a teacher?
Well, if I didn't coach, or if I didn't make it, the NBA, which I wasn't as good as you, Key, but if I wasn't going to make it, I was definitely going to work with kids and families, and that helped me. That motivated me. So teaching was fun, and so working with K through 12. I was a PE teacher / health teacher in Milwaukee, of course, and it was a fun time.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming through today. And there you have it. Back to you, Sam.
That was Keelan Martin with assistant coach Omar Larry for the Butler men's basketball team. Thanks for joining us, Coach.
A great interview there, giving us good insight into the season. Now we're going to bring in our Butler sports expert, Damon Rector, for a little discussion about both men and women's basketball, as both are in the middle of their season. So we'll start off on the women's side, boys. 13-win, 14-loss season so far. They have 3 games left. They had a 6-win season a year ago. Is this season considered a success so far?
I think it is. They were 6-25 last year, and they're 13-14 this year, so they already doubled their wins. And really surprising, this is their first time they can be over 500 win percentage since the 2013 season.
I think it definitely is a success. One thing that you have to look at is the scoring margin. They're only getting outscored by 1 point per game, so they're in a lot of these games too. They just may not be able to finish them, so their record could be better than it even is now. I think the question is this year a stopgap? Whitney Jennings has been a revelation for the Bulldogs this year, but this is her one and only year playing on the court for the Dogs. So the question is, when she leaves, who fills that role next year.
6 straight losses in the Big East, a game tonight against Providence. After that, only 2 more games left until the Big East tournament. How much do you see this team improving through the final 3 games, Damon?
As you said, 6 losses in a row. Any coach, that's not what you like to hear. But they have beat top 25 teams, so you know they can beat the top teams. And maybe they can rattle off two out of 3 wins out of their past 3 games or next games. And, yeah, they could build momentum heading into the Big East tournament, and anything can happen there.
I just want to see them win on the road. This is a team that hasn't won a road game since early January 5th, I believe is the date. So if these last 3 games, which they are, they're on the road, I think it's going to be key for them to get at least one of these wins away from Hinkle.
So let's switch it over to the men's side now. A tough at-home loss on Tuesday against Georgetown. That makes it 3 in a row. What exactly happened during that game?
Well, they let 2 guys go off, Derrickson and Govan. They're 2 big guys. Derrickson had 27, Govan had 17. And Butler was ice cold in the 3-point line, only shooting 5 for 22 from 3. And their defense, they allowed 87 points, and if you're a defensive-minded coach, you don't like that.
Yeah, I think going off of what Damian said, the big man defense really suffered that game. I think it suffered from a lot of foul calls early on Fowler and Weidman, and when those guys get in foul trouble, it limits their ability to really be physical down there on the block.
And a good opportunity at home on Saturday to get back on track against Providence. How do you think that one shapes up, guys?
Well, they're on a 3-game losing streak, so this is a game. This would be a pivotal game heading into the season and finishing out the season. You got Keelan, he's always there, strong points per game, and then same thing with Kamar. But really, who you would like to see step up is Paul Georgeson. He's kind of been quiet the last 3 games, and maybe he'll light that spark.
Yeah, I think Jorgensen is the key to this game. You know Keelan's going to bring it. You know Kamar brings it every night. The question is, what can Paul Jorgensen give you? And on the Friar side, they have 3 real offensive playmakers, Rodney Bullock, Jalen Lindsey, and Kyron Cartwright. The question is, can the Bulldogs stop at least 2 of those guys? I think they do that, and I get this win 85-77, Sam.
Well, we want to thank Damon Rector for joining our roundtable, Butler sports expert. We also want to thank Omar Larry, assistant coach, for joining us on today's show. So that'll do it for the Butler Press Pass. I'm Samuel Wiederhaft.
And I'm Perry Wagner.
We've got our credentials. Now you have yours. We'll see you next time.